My father missed every important day of my life. I didn't expect him. I stopped missing him. I used to think my life had missing pages, not ripped out, just never written. Every time something important happened, there was this empty space beside me, a space where my father should have been, and no matter how old I got, that space never closed. My name is Emily. I grew up in Seattle, gray skies, wet streets, the kind of city where silence feels louder than noise. And in that silence, I learned very early what it feels like to wait for someone who never shows up. My father missed every important day of my life. I don't mean once or twice. I mean all of them: birthdays, school plays, sports days, first day of school, last day of school, graduation rehearsals, actual graduation, moments that other kids took for granted because their dads were just there, mine wasn't. But the strange part is, he wasn't completely gone either. I still remember my earliest birthday. I was 6. I woke up early, ran to the living room, and saw a box on the table, wrapped neatly. My name is written in careful handwriting. Not my mom's handwriting. I knew that even back then. He sent that, my mom said, not looking at me, from the road. Inside was a small keyboard, cheap plastic, but I loved it. I pressed every key like it was magic. There was also a letter. Happy birthday, Emmy. I'm so proud of you. I miss you every day. I didn't understand how someone could miss me and still not be there. That became the pattern. Gifts would come, letters would come, words full of love, apologies written over and over again, but he never came with them. He never sat beside me while I opened them, never hugged me after. When I asked my mom where he was, she always gave the same answer. He chose another woman. She'd say it flat, cold, like she'd practiced it so many times that it didn't hurt anymore. He met her while he was traveling with his band, and he left us. My father was a musician. That part was true. He used to travel across the country with a small band, sometimes gone for months. I remember suitcases by the door, the smell of guitar strings and coffee, him kissing my forehead and saying, "I'll be back before you know it." But he stopped coming back. After he left, our apartment felt different, quieter but also heavier. My mom worked long hours as a manager at a restaurant downtown. She'd come home tired, sometimes angry, sometimes distant, and sometimes not alone. She never married again, but she always had boyfriends. Different men, different faces. They'd sit on our couch like they belonged there, laugh too loud, drink my father's old beer mugs. One even slept in my father's spot on the bed. It made my stomach turn. I was just a kid, but I felt it. Something wasn't right. The story didn't sit well with me. If my father really left us for another woman, why did he keep writing? Why did he keep sending gifts? Why did he ask about my school, my friends, my favorite color? Why did he sound so broken in his letters? On sports day, I waited. Every year, I'd scan the crowd while other kids waved at their dads. Some would cheer. Some would take photos. I'd tell myself maybe this time. He never came. When I scored my first goal in middle school soccer, I looked to the sidelines without thinking. I wanted to see his face. I saw nothing. That night there was a package waiting at home. New cleats. A note that said, "I heard you scored. I wish I was there to cheer." I cried harder than I ever did on the field. As I got older, the anger grew. It settled in my chest like something sharp. I hated him for leaving. I hated him for missing everything. And yet I couldn't throw away a single letter. High school was worse. Dances, performances, parent meetings. He wasn't there for any of it. At my school performance, I played piano. I sat on the bench under bright lights. I knew the piece by heart, but my hands shook. I imagined him in the audience. In my head, he was smiling, nodding, proud. After the show, everyone hugged their parents. I walked home alone. There was a voicemail waiting on our answering machine. His voice, soft, careful. "I know you performed tonight. I hope you played your heart out." I slammed the phone down. If he knew everything, why wasn't he there? Graduation came. Caps, gowns, families everywhere. My mom sat stiff beside me, clapping when she had to, smiling when cameras passed. I searched the crowd again. One last time, nothing. That night, another letter, longer than usual. He said he was sorry. He said he was proud. He said he loved me. I didn't read it all at once. I couldn't. After he left us, things didn't go well for him. I learned that later. He fell apart, drank too much, missed shows, lost work. The band moved on without him. For a while he disappeared completely. No letters, no gifts. I told myself I was done caring. But then the letters came back, more careful, more steady. He said he was trying to get his life together, that he was done with music, that he wanted something stable. Years passed. He started a small catering business. Nothing big, just local events, weddings, office lunches. He remarried. Had 2 sons. I found out through social media, not from him, from people who tagged him in photos. It hurt more than I expected. He could show up for them, just not for me. College changed me. Distance gave me space to think. And the more I thought, the more the story my mom told me didn't add up. If he left us for another woman, why did my mom never move on? Why did she bring men home but never commit? Why did she get angry whenever I mentioned my father's name? Every time I asked, she shut me down. He abandoned us. That's all you need to know, but I needed more. I always felt there was something she wasn't telling me. Then, during my final year of college, everything shifted. I was working part-time at a restaurant near campus. Busy nights, long shifts, loud kitchens. One evening, I was carrying plates to a table when I felt it. That feeling you get when someone is watching you. I looked up, and there he was, standing near the counter. Older, thinner, lines on his face I didn't remember, but the same eyes, the same warmth. My heart stopped. For a second I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. He smiled. Not big, just enough. Emily, he said softly. Hearing my name from his mouth in real life felt unreal, like a voice from a dream. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to yell at him for missing my entire life. But I didn't. I felt calm, like some part of me recognized him before my mind could catch up. We sat down after my shift. He apologized right away. Said he didn't want to surprise me but didn't know how else to see me. I've felt guilty every day, he said. I want to make things right, if you'll let me. I didn't trust him, but I didn't push him away either. We started meeting once a week. Coffee, walks, simple things. And every time, that same strange feeling came back, like he never left me. And that scared me more than the anger ever did. When my father and I started meeting every week, I didn't tell my mother at first. Not because I was afraid, but because I didn't want her voice in my head while I was trying to hear my own thoughts. For the first time in my life, I wanted to know him without someone else shaping the story for me. We met in small, quiet places. A coffee shop near the waterfront. A park where dogs ran loose and kids screamed without fear. He always showed up early, always stood when I walked in, always asked how I was before talking about himself. That alone confused me. He listened, really listened. When I talked about school, work, my fears about the future, he never checked his phone or looked away. He nodded, asked questions, remembered details. That hurt more than if he had been careless. Because it showed me the man he could have been all along. One afternoon, while we were walking near the pier, I finally asked him the question that had lived in my chest for years. Why weren't you there? I said. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. My voice came out calm. Too calm. He stopped walking. I ask myself that every day, he said, and there's no answer that ever feels good enough. I waited. He took a breath, long, heavy. I was ashamed, he said, and I was broken. That wasn't the answer I expected. He told me about the months after he left, how he drank until he couldn't think, how music, the thing that once saved him, started to feel empty, how every time he thought about coming back, he imagined my face filled with hate. I didn't think I deserved you, he said. That made me angry. You didn't get to decide that, I told him. You didn't get to decide to disappear. He nodded. You're right. No excuses, no defense. Still, one thing didn't make sense. You left us for another woman, I said. That's what Mom told me. His face changed. Not anger, not guilt, shock. Is that what she said? He asked quietly. I watched his hands tighten, then relax. I never left you for another woman, he said. The words hit me like cold water. What do you mean? I asked. He looked at me like he was choosing each word carefully, like one wrong sentence could shatter something forever. I found out your mom was having an affair, he said, with one of her colleagues at the restaurant. My heart started racing. She was a manager, he continued. I had my suspicions for months, late nights, phone calls she'd leave the room to take, but I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't speak. One night I came home early from a trip, he said. I wanted to surprise you both. I walked in and I saw them. I felt sick. I confronted her, he said. She didn't deny it. She told me she felt lonely, that I was always gone, that it just happened. I thought of all the men she brought home later, all the nights she claimed she was just unlucky in love. She asked me not to tell you, he said. She said you were too young, that it would destroy you. I stared at the ground. My whole body felt numb. I tried to stay, he said. I really did. But every time I looked at her, I saw that moment. And every time I looked at you, I felt like I was failing you. So you left? I asked. I left the house, he said. Not you. I never left you in my heart. That sentence broke something open inside me. I thought if I stayed away, I'd hurt you less, he said. I was wrong. We stood there in silence. People walked past us, laughing, living their lives. And I felt like my entire childhood was being rewritten in real time. All those years, all that anger, built on a lie. That night, I went home and confronted my mother. She was sitting on the couch, watching TV like nothing in the world was wrong. I turned it off. We need to talk, I said. She sighed. About what? About Dad, I said. Her jaw tightened. I met him, I continued. He told me why he left. Her face went pale. He told me about the affair. She stood up. That's a lie, she snapped. He's manipulating you. Stop, I said. My voice shook, but I didn't back down. I want the truth. For once. She looked at me for a long time, then she laughed, a short, bitter laugh. You wouldn't understand, she said. Try me, I replied. She sat back down, rubbed her temples. I was lonely, she said. Your father was never home. Always chasing music, always gone. So you cheated, I said. Her eyes flashed. I made a mistake. And then you let me believe he abandoned us for another woman, I said. You let me hate him. She didn't answer. That was enough to answer. You could have told me, I said. You could have given me the truth. I did what I thought was best, she said. No, I replied. You did what was easiest for you. That night I cried harder than I ever had. Not because my father left, but because my mother lied. Everything made sense now. Her anger, her bitterness, her refusal to let me ask questions. She wasn't protecting me, she was protecting herself. After that, things changed. My relationship with my father grew slowly. Carefully, we didn't pretend the past didn't exist. We talked about it, the missed days, the empty chairs, the silence. He apologized more times than I could count, not with words alone, but with presence. He showed up to my college graduation. Early, front row. When I walked across that stage and heard someone yell my name, I knew his voice instantly. I looked up and saw him standing, clapping, tears in his eyes. That moment didn't erase the past, but it healed something. I met his wife later. She was kind, nervous. She didn't try to replace anyone. She respected my space. His sons hugged me like they'd known me forever. I realized something then. People are not just the worst thing they've ever done. Sometimes they're the sum of everything they regret. My mother and I were still working through things. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight, but I don't hate her. I understand her better now. Understanding doesn't excuse the pain, but it explains it. As for my father, he didn't show up for most of my life, but when he finally did, he stayed. And that taught me something important. The truth hurts. But living a lie hurts longer. If this story touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like so more people can hear it. Subscribe if you believe some truths come late but still matter. And comment below, do you believe people deserve a second chance when they finally show up?